I have something to tell you. Something big has changed in my life. And it is about a physical injury. I know that people hurt themselves all the time. I'm a physio. I've helped many, hundreds, thousands of people recover from injury. But guess what? Now it's my turn. I am the one in the seat. And I'm not the one in the driving seat. I am in the back passenger and I am having to go for a ride. So instead of me ignoring the obvious and pretending, nothing's happened, I've decided I'm just going to let you in and let you come along with me on this journey because it is a life-altering injury that I have. I mean, it has some relative permanence. It will heal if everything goes as expected. But in the interim, my life has been significantly impaired. So my plan is I'm going to share my discoveries, my highs and lows, my tips, my strategies, things that come up along the way. So if you're experiencing something similar, hopefully you can learn from these videos. And don't worry, I'll still be talking about exercise. I mean, I have no choice. Exercise will be integral to my recovery, and exercise will always be a part of my life. I'm still a consistent exerciser. So I will give you the gory details at some point of exactly what happened to me. But for today, I'm going to talk about the impact of injury. And then I'm going to cover the 3 big C's of recovery, the 3 big C's that will help you move forward in your recovery after a significant injury. So what happens when you have a life-altering injury? Maybe it's an injury that doesn't allow you to be the person that you're used to being. So in my case, I'm a physio, a fitness instructor, I'm a homemaker, I'm a dancer, I am an aunt. All of these things are really, really important to me. And now that I've injured myself, and this injury won't be changing anytime soon, I'm going to have to figure out a new path. So before we get to the 3 C's, I wanted to kind of give you a little insight on some of the impacts of injury. So for example, the obvious stuff is the physical impact. So in my case, without revealing the injury this week, I'll do that next week. In my case, I can't walk. And I need crutches, and so I can only last about 5 to 10 meters. And, I could go further, but my hands would not be able to take it, and it would impact the rest of my day. So I am severely limited on a physical level, and that often is what results when it comes to injury. But the other thing is pain. Now I'm experiencing pain. Gratefully, it's not severe, but, lots of questions come up. I'm a physio. I should know this is a musculoskeletal injury. This is something I'm familiar with, yet I myself am asking questions. Is this what I should be feeling now? Is there something wrong? Is everything going the right direction? So pain is one of the impacts of a physical life-altering injury. Lastly, on the physical level, fitness. Clearly, I'm not going to be able to be as active as I was. I'm not going to be teaching my classes. I'm not going to be walking to work. I'm not going to be exercising after work. I'm not going to be doing a lot of physical activity. I'm going to be spending a lot of time on the couch and keeping my leg up. So my fitness will definitely take a dive. But don't worry, I will persevere. But you know that I love exercise. So exercise makes me feel so many things. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Some of the less obvious impacts of injury are the things that happen on the inside. You know, it's the mental and emotional impacts of injury. The stuff that nobody knows is going on, unless you tell them. And some of those things, you know, I've heard them from my patients before, but until you experience it, you know, it's really quite a different story. And first of all, there's fear. Obviously, there's the fear of the unknown. You know, what is ahead of me? Will I heal? Will everything be okay? You know, I had those questions for myself. Anxiety, how long is this going to take? Will I be able to return to all the activities that I wanted to? It doesn't stop there. The other feelings that came up were shame and guilt. Guilt for having injured myself in the first place. Like, why did I do that? Could I have done something to mitigate that? And the shame is coming from the roles that I play in other people's lives and how I will no longer be able to carry out those roles. So work, home, I teach eccentrics. You know, I actually felt a real sadness, you know, knowing that I wouldn't be able to fulfill that role, and I really felt I was letting people down. Carrying on with the sadness, you know, along with the sadness, you know, there is a loss of the identity. So I am a person, I'm a physical person, and my identity is wrapped up in physicality. So when I can't be physical, I'm going to have to reevaluate and keep myself in check. Worst case scenario, some people sometimes feel a loss of purpose. Now, gratefully, I'm not there. And if I was going in that direction, I would definitely seek further help. So before I get too low, let's talk about my big 3 C's of coping with a life-altering injury. And the first one is to connect. You need to connect. I am not one to ask for help. I like to do things myself. And I realized very early on, the more people I talked to, the better it was. The more people I connected with, family, friends, colleagues, professionals, you know, the more information I got, the better I felt. Because with that information, I was able to guide myself into the next phases and next steps of my recovery. Talking to other people also gave me perspective. You know, in my case, I did end up having surgery. And in the early days, I wasn't sure if that was going to be a possibility. Oops. But through talking with a friend, or actually I was texting with a friend, I came to the conclusion that, you know, I at least wanted the option. And so that communication, that connection gave me the impetus to push for it and find all the information and all the answers I needed. And of course, when it comes to connecting, I felt the support of family and friends, my students offering rides, bringing me meals, reaching out with all their well wishes. All of these things, they were so, so important in the early days of my recovery. Why? Because they lifted me and they made me feel better. The second of the big 3 C's that I've realized, the second thing I needed to do was be calm. Why did I need to be calm? Because I need to be in the moment. You know, one of the things that was hard to do, one of the roles I gave up was homemaking. You know, at first you think, oh, perfect, bonus. I don't have to cook or clean. But then you have someone else doing it for you and you sort of go, well, actually, I actually do it that way. Oh, actually, that goes over there. I realized I needed to bring it down a level and chill out and let people help you in the way that they want to help you. Other ways that I used calm was to use mantras, meditation, just so I could be in the moment, not thinking about the future. Because, for me, there is a protocol, there's a definite phases of recovery. And so once I got those phases in place, I realized, you know what? I'm just going to have to just trust the process and just allow myself to be. And lastly, when it comes to the calmness, pain is definitely influenced by fear, anxiety. So if you can find ways to bring yourself down, make yourself feel more calm, you will find a reduction in your pain. Lastly, the best one, the best of the 3 big C's that I realized would help move me forward in this recovery process is to create. I had to become creative with my life, with my occupation, because I'm not working, I'm not cleaning, I'm not cooking, I'm not teaching. What am I going to do? How am I going to spend my time? So gratefully, I have, a few interests. So I know I'm going to catch up on some books, obviously some movies, watch a lot of YouTube, maybe look at Facebook. But, there was a course I was considering taking, and I thought I couldn't do it because I didn't have enough time. Well, guess what? I've got lots of time. So that might actually happen. The other things that you're going to have to be creative about is your fitness, right? So for me, I know specifically there's a protocol, what I'm allowed to do at certain stages of my recovery, which could be approximately 6 months long. Obviously, I will be walking and moving sooner, but I might not be getting back to the things that I really normally like to do. So I'm going to have to be creative. And I'm going to have to, but I'm looking forward to this part. It's going to be fun. And I'm going to try to bring that fun to my videos with you as I share in this journey. One thing I'd like to point out, if you are having trouble figuring out what you want to do, go back to connecting, talk to people. I mean, I'm actually going to physio for the first time in my life, and I'm in my 50s, okay? And I've been a physio for 30 years. So I am going to go for my first physio appointment next week. Not because I don't know exactly what to do, and I'm perfectly capable of following a protocol. I'm going to the physio because I know she is going to let me know of ideas that I have never even thought of. So it's going to infuse that creativity and make things give me a little bit more variety. One other thing on that creative level, I came up with the idea that I'm going to go swimming in the community pool as soon as I'm ready. When was the last time I was in a community pool? Maybe when I was 12. So anyways, you got to be creative. You got to look around and just start poking and prodding things and figuring it out. What are your options? What are your alternatives? So I will hope you join me on my journey. My name is Andrea Nunn. I'm a physio and an eccentrics instructor, temporarily on hold. And I'm going to be sharing my recovery period with you over the next several months. I'm still going to be talking about exercise. Don't worry, it's there. And if you are thinking about starting out on exercise or returning to exercise, or maybe you have an injury like me and you're on the recovery phase, there's going to be lots of information here for you. So follow me on my Facebook page or subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember, connect, calm, and create. Those are the 3 big C's that I've learned in my own journey of recovery.